video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Getting time today being on here, I'm trying to make up for not doing one Friday or Saturday, and plus with it being Christmas week, I may not be on here every day this week. I'm going to try my best, but I'm not going to make any promises. So I wanted to make sure I did too. Today, I was on earlier today talking about the college football round one playoffs. If you have not watched that video yet, please go back and watch it. If you jump on here live, feel free to leave a comment section. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, just like Marcus just did. Hey there, Marcus. Glad to have you here again. Make sure you give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And share the video on all social media platforms. And Marcus, I was right earlier when I said I didn't think the Falcons game was going to be competitive. It wasn't. Michael Penix kind of had it made because they could probably beat the Giants with their ninth string quarterback because the Giants are terrible. So it's really hard to gauge how good or bad Michael Penix Jr. is against the New York Giants, who are just flat out an absolute embarrassment. Speaking of New York teams, before I get into today's main topic in this video, earlier this week I heard a story about the New York Jets, and it kind of sums up the Jets and tells you why they suck as bad as they do. I'd like to share it in case you have not heard this story. I think it came out because former Jets coach Robert Saleh wants everybody to know why they suck so bad and let the world know that it's not his fault. But there was a story that came out, I believe, on Tuesday of this past week that during the offseason, the Jets wanted to trade for Jerry Jeudy, who is one of the best receivers in the league. They wanted to go out and get him, and it had already been approved and was going to happen. Hey there, Nick. Glad to have you here. And right before the trade actually happened, the Jets changed their mind, and the story goes their mind got changed because Jets owner Woody Johnson said that he didn't want Jerry Jeudy because Jerry Jeudy's score on the Madden video game was not high enough, which tells you that he either knows nothing about Jerry Jeudy or doesn't care. Hey there, Delaney. Hey there, Kitty. Hey there, Amika. Glad to have you here. And yes, I am happily married. Just celebrated 13 years this past Thursday. Me and my beautiful, lovely wife been married 13 years. So thank you for your concern. And if you're new to the channel and you have not seen my wife and my kids, you can go back, I'd say probably about 6 months ago, and go back further than that. We used to have an intro video that played before every single video I did, and it showed my wife and our kids. We have a daughter and twin boys. But I quit showing the video because I believe it was about 2.5 years old, almost 3 years old. And I felt like people are going to think, wow, his kids aren't getting any bigger. Why aren't they growing? And we just stay so busy, we haven't had time to do a new video. So I thought, you know what, until we get time to record a new intro video, I'm just going to quit showing this one. And hey there, Daryl, glad to have you here all the way from Indonesia. And Kitty, I will have a good life because, in my opinion, life is great. There's no such thing as a bad day or a bad week. There are bad moments in every day, but we can choose to either let that moment make our day bad or to not let that moment ruin our whole day. But most of the time, we as humans let one or two bad moments make the whole entire day bad, but that's a choice we make. I choose not to make that choice. I choose to believe that every day is a good day. There are bad moments in every day, but no such thing as a bad day. Hey there, Austin. Glad to have you here. So the Jets turned down the trade to get Jerry Jeudy because their owner said that his score in Madden was not high enough. And they surprised me too. And a lot of Eagles fans, Marcus, are going to say that the Eagles lost that game because Jalen Hurts got hurt, which he did. That is factual. But the Eagles are number 2 or 3 in the NFL in total defense. And last I checked, Jalen Hurts doesn't play defense, and they shouldn't have let the Commanders score 36 points on them. But the Commanders are 10-5, so they're definitely a playoff team. I don't think they'll catch the Eagles in the division, but I still think they're a playoff team. So to be as bad as they were last year and to be as good as they are this year and to make that much improvement in 1 year under Jaden Daniels just goes to show how much better you can be with a competent quarterback. Now, granted, you might not find one as good as Jaden Daniels, but just a competent quarterback can take you from being awful to being relatively decent in 1 year. And Austin, it's fixing to be about college football. Thanks to all the great comments I'm getting, I have not got there yet. And Amico, I am Southern. Thank you very much. I don't use a lot of Southern words because a lot of Southern words sound stupid, ignorant, and made up. But I have a Southern accent, and that's something I just cannot hide. I cannot get away from it. But today's main topic is college football. I want to talk about the bowl games coming up this week. Now, I'm not going to talk about the ones coming up on Saturday. I'll have to come back sometime later on this week and talk about the games on Saturday because there's 7 or 8 bowl games on Saturday. So Saturday is going to feel like a regular Saturday during the actual college football regular season because there'll be football on basically from lunchtime on all day long with all the bowl games. So I'll save Saturday for later on in the week. And no, Austin, it's been a great day. We had church this morning, had our Christmas service. I left church, came home, ate lunch, did my first video earlier today, watched a little football. I went over and seen my grandmother and my sister who is visiting from Florida. She lives down in Florida now. I seen them, spent some time with my daughter, took my daughter over to my mother-in-law's house, came back home, and now I'm doing another video. But tomorrow we have the Myrtle Beach Bowl, 11 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow morning. And guess where that bowl game is played at? It's Coastal Carolina and the UTSA. And then 2:30 tomorrow we have the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. And I can remember this bowl game was called the Humanitarian Bowl, and the Clemson Tigers played in that bowl in 1999, I believe. Woodrow Dantzler was their quarterback, and they played against Boise State on Boise State's home field 25 years ago. Then on Christmas Eve, we have one bowl game. 8 o'clock, Christmas Eve night, we have the Hawaii Bowl, which will be South Florida and San Jose State. And then nothing on the collegiate side on Christmas Day. And Austin, I'll be going to my mother-in-law's house on Christmas Day because we go to my grandmother's house on Christmas Eve, and then my mother-in-law's house on Christmas Day because my mother and my father have both been dead for many, many years, so all I have is my grandmother on my mother's side, and we'll go there on Christmas Eve night. We always do, and then my mother-in-law's house on Christmas Day around lunchtime. Coming up on Thursday at 5:30, we have the Game Above Sports Bowl, and that bowl game is played in Detroit, Michigan. I think this is the bowl game that used to be called the Quick Lane Bowl because there was a bowl game in Detroit called the Quick Lane Bowl. I believe this is now what's called the game above Sports Bowl. Pittsburgh versus Toledo. And then Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we have the 68 Ventures Bowl. That bowl game is in Mobile, Alabama. That'll be Arkansas State Red Wolves against the Bowling Green Falcons. And Austin, I hope it does not snow. If it never snows again, it would be perfectly fine with me. And then coming up on Friday, we have quite a few bowl games on. So if you're one of the people that has a job where you're off the week of Christmas, then you'll enjoy Friday, because by Friday, most people should be done with the traveling and seeing the family and all that kind of good stuff. Friday at noon, we have the Fort Worth Bowl, which will be the Oklahoma Sooners against the Navy Midshipmen. And then Friday at 3:30, we have the Birmingham Bowl. And I believe this is actually going to be a very good competitive game. It's two teams that on paper look pretty evenly matched. Now, I thought the same thing about the Ohio State-Tennessee game last night, and then 8 o'clock Eastern Time come around last night, and that game was never even close at all. So I could be wrong, but on paper, these two teams are pretty evenly matched. Should be a good game, but the Birmingham Bowl, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. And then Friday night at 7 o'clock, we have the Liberty Bowl. And, of course, that is in Memphis, Tennessee. The Liberty Bowl is the Texas Tech Red Raiders against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Austin, I'll probably watch SmackDown late Friday after all the bowl games are done. If not, I'll watch it sometime next weekend. But I'll probably be watching college football during SmackDown Live, because college football season's almost over with. So I try to watch as much as I can while I can, because wrestling never stops. Plus, SmackDown has already been taped for next weekend, so I can easily go online and read the results, since it's not going to be live, and I ain't got a reason to even watch it. Friday night at 8 o'clock, we have the Holiday Bowl. Of course, that bowl game is in San Diego, California. That'll be the Syracuse Orange against the Washington State Cougars. And then the late bowl game Friday night, and it's late because it is out in Vegas on the West Coast. We have the SRS Distribution Bowl at 10:30 Eastern Time Friday night. That is the Texas A&M Aggies against the USC Trojans. And I believe that bowl game used to be called the Las Vegas Bowl, and they actually found a sponsor for the bowl game. So now it's no longer just named after the city. It's actually got a sponsor. I could be wrong. It's hard to keep up with all these bowl games because the names change so often. Kevron, glad to have you here, and Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Austin, I guess it depends on what you consider over with, because the college football regular season is over with now, but they've got bowl games and playoffs going on. The NFL is still having their regular season, their playoffs start in a couple of weeks. But the college football season, as far as the national championship, ends January the 20th. And then the NFL will have their Super Bowl in February. But now there's another league that comes on TV that starts late March, early April. So it'll be on right after the NFL season ends, and then it'll go through July. So because of the spring football league that now comes on during the spring, football is just about a year-round sport now as far as on TV, but it's just there's different kinds. It's not all college or all NFL. We have college football, the NFL, and then we'll have the spring football. And then about the time the spring football ends, it'll be just about time for the NFL preseason and high school football to start back. And Austin, I do watch basketball, but I made a video earlier in the week. I want to say it was on Wednesday, but don't quote me on that, about some things the NBA needs to change to make it more watchable, because at one time a few years back, the NBA was starting to garner pretty good ratings, but in the last couple of years, their ratings have gone in the tank and they're awful. And when the guy that runs the NBA, Adam Silver, comes out and says, "Yeah, we know our ratings are bad," then they're pretty bad, because those are things you don't like to admit. So for him to do that, they're pretty bad. It's down 10% in certain markets. So I made a video earlier in the week talking about some things that I think the NBA needs to change to become more watchable and make it basketball again, because right now it's a no defense, pretty much all-star game in every game, every night, all year long. And I've been watching NBA for 30 years, so I can compare what it used to be like to what it is now. And back in the day, it was basketball, and now it's a no defense 3-point shooting contest, which is not basketball. So if you're a basketball fan, go back and watch that video on Wednesday to see my opinion on what I think the NBA needs to change to become marketable again and to make folks start watching it again, because right now it's struggling and struggling big time. The things that are hurting the NBA are trickling down to college a little bit, but it's not nearly as bad in college as it is in the NBA. Any thoughts on any of these bowl games? Please feel free to let me know. And Austin, I absolutely love baseball. I've always loved baseball, and the older I get, the more I love it, because they've changed basketball and football so much that they're almost no longer basketball and football. But the way the baseball game is played, you really can't change it a whole lot. You can change it a little bit here and there, but you can't really change the way baseball is changed. But they've pretty much almost made football a 7-on-7 no contact game, and basketball has no such thing as defense anymore, no such thing as traveling anymore, no such thing as centers anymore. So basketball ain't basketball and football ain't football. But baseball, the way it's played, you really can't change baseball a whole lot. You can sit down with friends and family and watch a baseball game and be able to have a conversation and look at each other and still watch the game. You try that in basketball or football and you're going to miss 4 or 5 plays. But in baseball, you won't miss anything. I love the pageantry of baseball. The older I get, the more I love it. And that's what about baseball ticks me off, is I love baseball. But baseball almost now no longer comes on TV at all, except for Fox carrying a game on Saturday, and then ESPN carrying a game on Sunday and Wednesday. Outside of that, you just about have to pay extra to watch baseball, and then they want baseball to grow. How can you grow the game and take it back to where it used to be when nobody can watch it? Makes zero sense to me. And Riley, thank you for being here, and I 100% agree with you. Anybody else on here, thank you for all the comments. Hopefully, if you have not yet subscribed, you did subscribe. Hopefully, you give the video a like, a thumbs up. And as soon as I am done, share the video on all social media platforms. And I hope you enjoy all the bowl games this week. And if you're a basketball fan, I hope you enjoy the NBA on Christmas Day. I'm going to try my best to do a video every day this week. But because it's Christmas week and everybody's going here, there, and everywhere, I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm going to try my best to be on here at some point during the day, every day this week. But let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I'm not making any resolutions. I think it's time for the years to get better. Not me. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.